Okay, so we completed required setups for inventory, and we discussed about various inventory transactions and other features which are available within the inventory. So when we are dealing with instance, after completing basic setups, if you want to move those setups to other instance, simply you can extract all the setups and you can import into different instance that we call as configuration packages. Okay, so we call as configuration packages. So the configuration packages, what we can do is we can move setups from one instance to another instance. The process wise, we export and we import. From the source instance, we export the setups. In the targeted instance, we have to import the setups, which we call as the concept wise configuration packages. Now we completed setups for inventory in the same way as a part of implementation we complete for all other applications which applications we are implementing for the client. Say you completed setups in the test environment and you tested by performing the transactions, everything is working fine. If you want to move the same setups from test to production instance or any other instance, we use the configuration packages concept. Here, no technical support or no DBA support is required to perform this. It's a purely functional task. So purely functional task. We can just submit the process which will extract the setups from the current environment. The same you can just select the targeted instance to load into that. We'll see a simple task how to perform. Fine. Just go to instance, go to FSM, functional setup manager, setup and maintenance. And here we have a task list. Click on task list. Okay, the task called as manage configuration packages. Just click on manage configuration packages. Click on this. First we have to select which project setups we want to move to different instance. Just click on create. So system is asking us which project related setups we want to export. Here select our project. Here we have two options to export: setup task list only, setup task list and setup data. Only setup data, configuration data only you can export. The transactions and all we cannot do it. If you have a requirement of moving setups as well as transactional data from one to other instance. In case of EBS, the DBA do the activity called as cloning. The similar activity you can request Oracle DBA team to perform it. Only setup data if you want to move, you can go with this configuration packages. If you want to just move the task list only, ideally not required. So task list would be available in every instance since that will have offerings and all. So now the target is setup data. So by default system is selecting the same. Here select your project. So our project name is ERP3 implementation project. Select project. Okay, it has to fetch the entire definition of the project. Just wait for just couple of, I mean, maybe just few seconds.
Lakshman, can you also like migrate like item categories and catalogs?
Yeah, that is setup data only, right?
Okay.
All like what are before the only transactions, we didn't perform single transaction also so far. Whatever we did, all comes under setups only. Now everything system will move, and again in this process we'll have option where we can deselect which is setup data we don't want to move. Okay, yeah, system selected project. Okay, now here configuration package details. This project we are going to export to import into targeted instance. By default, system is taking the same name for that. Okay, you can accept the same or you can change. So name, code, and all. Okay, everything system taken. Now click on next. So within that project, these are the different tasks available. Many tasks we have, right? Any specific task related setup data, if you don't want to move from this project to or this instance to other instance, you can deselect here. Whether you want to export or not, we can select. By default, all system will mark as export. There won't be any need of stopping certain definitions. Okay, if you have a such kind of requirement where so and so setup data is not required, you can uncheck this export option. But you have to look at the dependency also. If you are stopping, if any record creation, any setup definition will be failed or it will go smooth, those everything you have to analyze, then you have to work on it. So a lot of setup data here, I mean tasks we have. Which task has a setup data, the task will carry the same information to this file which you are going to export. Fine. So if any task related data, if you don't want to export, if you don't want to move from this instance to other instance, so let me scroll. Now you don't need to search for specific task, any task. For example, you don't want to move some setup data related to this task. So simply you can uncheck this. You can click on that record, it will open the field. Uncheck. So that against this task, even there is some data which is available, which we defined as a configuration data, the data cannot be moved to targeted instance. Okay, so that's how you can uncheck specific tasks, so that with the task what are the setup data is created, the data cannot be moved to targeted instance. Fine. So then click on next. If you want to schedule this process, you can schedule where system will export, or else directly you can submit this. So if you click on submit, system will start exporting the data into file. If you want to schedule this, maybe like you want to schedule after some time where automatically system has to export the all setup data, you can go with the schedule. Use as a schedule means however we schedule any job or request in EBS, in the same way we can schedule it. Use a schedule when this process system has to initiate. Maybe tomorrow it has to take at what point of time, AM or PM, all these specifications we can give, then automatically system will trigger the process to do it. Or else immediately if you want to create this configuration package against our project, you can go with this with the option called as soon as possible, then click on submit. Now it will create configuration package by exporting all the data. Okay, you are about to begin this export process. This will log the configuration package definition for future modification. Do you want to continue? Say yes. The configuration package which we are creating, that would be freezed during this process anyway. We are creating the same. So you can go with the project and you can work on it, no issues. But the configuration package which you are creating, system is saying that that will get freezed and it won't be available for any modifications. Say yes, then system will start the process of exporting. So this is how we can use the configuration package concept to move settings from one instance to another instance. The first step is you have to create the configuration package which exports setup data to into specific file. We'll see that.
Lakshman, this export for all the OUs, or can we export only for particular OUs?
This is for entire project. From your project, what are the setups you are doing? You will identify based on within your project you'll have a primary ledger, right? The primary ledger is associated with how many operate business units, and again that is associated with which inventory organizations and all other setups which you are doing as a part of project. All system will fetch. That is the reason it's recommended to do the setups from the project. If you do setups from the project, so you can just use this configuration package concept to export those setups. Okay, we have a concept called a scope selection. We have seen scope selection. So which system will identify scope? Those has a relationship which other setups and other organization related definitions. All system will recognize and it will fetch the data. If you are not creating the project and if you are performing the setups, already we have seen without project also you can do the setups. So in that case, you cannot create the configuration package. You should have a project. If you are performing the setup from the project, so you can use this option.
So one more to the same question,
This.
because nowadays most of the organizations are existing implementation. So they are adding couple of operating units to existing implementation, right? In that case, what do you suggest? Do you want us to create a new project for new OUs only? Or
This
how do
is
you want?
a one-time
What
task.
do you suggest?
No, one point. This is a one-time task. This is a one-time task. Okay, at the time of implementation, we do it. If it is an ongoing process, if we are going to add the new projects and all, where we add directly in the production instance. And again, maybe for a testing and all, you may add in the test environment. In that case, you cannot use this option. Okay, this ideally we use at the time of implementation only, not for additional
This
rollouts and all.
not clear. Just wanted to ask in another way. So generally we have existing implementation, right? We are adding new operating unit. Okay. In that case, can we use this method from migrating from, because if you do set up in like UAT, can we take this package configuration package in UAT and migrate to production?
Yeah, you can do that. That's what we are discussing. It can be your testing purpose or CRP purpose, UAT purpose, whatever it may be. You did some setups in instance one, for example. In instance one, you did the setups. The setup data you want to move to other instance. It could be any other instance. It may be production or some other environment. You can use it. So whatever the instance you use to do the setups, within that you are adding one more or two more business units. Yes, you can add. After adding again just total project information, you can export and you can do it. Okay, so that's how you can do it. Ultimately, what are the setups you have in one instance, you can move to other instance. Those may be single business unit or multiple business units or any other points also, one ledger or multiple ledgers. Okay, that could be anything. Fine. Now you can see
But
like
it won't touch that. Sorry, it won't change anything to existing other business units, right?
which other business units you are talking.
Suppose we have five business units, okay, in existing production system. We are adding two more business
I got
units.
you. I got you. No, this
We
you cannot use it. You cannot use it. You cannot get this status for specific BU from one environment to another environment. For entire project only you can do it. I got you. Like say in the current production you have a five BUs and you created one more BU in the test environment first that you want to extract and you want to dump into targeted production instance. No, it doesn't work. It's a one-time activity. At the time of implementation only we do. Later, if you are incrementing the business units, so if you are going to perform the testing for that, if you do the setups in other instance, the additional business unit setups you cannot move. So in that case, you have to use the practice of doing setups through manual process in your production. Okay, just you have to use this one time. One time you complete all the setups, required setups, and everything is working fine. You tested the same setups you require in the production. You can use this option. You can move the setups. You need one more business unit. Then you can define that one more business unit in production itself, not through this process. Okay. Even you create in the test environment, only that additional BU information you cannot get into production through this process. Okay. So that's how it works. So one time, as a one-time job, you have to perform this. Now just you can click on refresh. It will update the status as in progress. So this configuration packages takes couple of hours time. Sometimes with kind of the instance related performance issues, it may take one day also. Okay, so this is how we have to submit. So it is in progress. It takes time. It takes couple of hours time because it has to identify all the setups and it has to create the file. Once file is created, here anyway you can see the status as a completed. So then system will allow you to download the file from here. Now also we can download the file, but you don't find all the setups as a part of this file. Just click on download. So which file you want to download? Download configuration package. Okay, download configuration package. So this you can save on the desktop. Just you think the export process is completed. Okay, that's all. Say you have to save with the zip file format only. Yeah, fine. We can save with the same name. That. So this is the process. First, you have to create the configuration package by selecting the implementation project. Then you have to submit. System will export all the setups. Export setup data in progress. And once you see the status as a completed, you can download the file. After downloading, what you can do is just now we downloaded, but all this the process still running. No issues to understand. We can go ahead at this way. Now what we have to do is after completing this process, you have to go to different instance. You have to go to different instance After going to different instance, you go to the same task list. Okay, same task list, and here you can go with the manage configuration packages. Okay, manage configuration packages. It's in the new different instance. Okay, or else let me, we'll go with the other instance. One second. Okay, this is a different instance. Okay, in this instance we submitted export process. Now we are going to different instance. The instance which we are using for practice, I'm using that instance to show this process. Fine. Okay, now the file which we downloaded that you want to import into this instance. So same process. Go to function setup manager, FSM. Go to task list and click on manage configuration packages. Same navigation. Okay, from here only with the same navigation only we created configuration package. The same you can see here, system is exporting all the setups into file, but without completing that process we just downloaded a file to test and to understand the process. Now what we can do is that file, after completing this process, you can download the file. That file you have to upload in the targeted instance. That's all. Just click on upload and browse the file. What are the file we downloaded, that you can browse here. This is a file. Select. Okay, it is showing all the details. Then click on submit. Click on submit. Now within that file, what are the data we have, setup data, that would be created within in this instance as a separate project. So this is how we can export the data from one instance and you can import into another instance. But now whatever we are doing here, this process is not completed. Just to understand how that works and what process need to be followed, without completing that process only we downloaded file. Okay, so it will take couple of hours, sometimes one day time also. Okay, so that's how it works. It won't happen the moment you submit, the system won't keep that file ready. Find any questions to understand this process, please. That's all. Just submit, create configuration package and download the file once you see the status has completed, and go to other instance and you can submit. You can upload the file, the same navigation, same task. By selecting the upload, then you can submit.
So Lakshman, every time it will download the export the complete package, or let's say today I download it and
One time
tomorrow again I
only, one
download, so
time
it
only.
will
One second.
download the data.
One second. Only one time. You have to do it as a one time. Okay. Once you complete all the required setups, you export this and submit in the targeted instance. That's all.
If you today I did set up for something and I will do tomorrow for some other setups, how can I approach on this?
No. We don't use with that approach. So this has, you have to do it as a one time. Again, if you are trying to export that additional setups, there is no option. Again, you have to create the new export, and when you try to submit that, what system will do? System will find out the duplication, and it won't allow to upload that file in the target instance. This is a one time task, that's all. It's a one time task. Simple example I'll tell you. We created primary ledger, business unit, legal entities by using the rapid implementation sheet, right? We created by using the rapid implementation sheet. Within the sheet,
Yeah.
you we provide all the data. We convert that file into a zip file. We'll create the zip file and we will submit. Then system will create two files. It will create, right? One is chart of accounts file, other one is entities file. You created chart of accounts and entities file. First you submitted a chart of accounts, then you are submitting entities file, which will create the primary ledger, business unit and legal entity. Okay, you're done with that. Now you want to add two more segments or three more segments or some additional business units. It doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work. If you want to add the value sets, data and all, you can add it. But if you want to add some additional business units and other definitions, you have to take the same sheet, and within the sheet you can enter, but when you generate the file, it will generate the file for everything. And if you are trying to submit to the system, again it will try to generate all the definitions and all. It doesn't work. That's what we have to do it as a one time. If you are trying to add some value set related data, that process will support. But here, when I talk about configuration packages, you have to do it as a one time task. You have to take the decision what is the right time to export the data. You have a still requirement of doing the setups. You don't go with this configuration package. Once you make sure that all setups are done, all setups are completed, then that is the right time where you can export. Then you can go to the target instance and you can submit this import process as a upload. Okay, we cannot do it as with the different phases. First we'll do a few setups and we'll get into the target instance. Later again we'll do some setups. We don't do in that way. Okay, so this is not for that purpose. So one time task, once you are ready with all the setups, whatever the right time, accordingly you can plan for this activity. Okay, there is no option where system will give you only latest data, or else the setups which are completed from so and so date to so and so date, only those setup data need to be extracted and all. It doesn't work. Fine. So
Lakshman, this will be handy, when the Fusion will be cloned, the Vision instance will be cloned every month or 2 months, right? We can save it as a backup and
yes.
in the yeah.
For our
Vision
practice
instance will be
purpose,
cloned.
practice purpose, you can
It's very handy.
advantage from this. Every 1 month, ideally they do the they refresh all the setups. They'll remove all the setups since this is a Vision instance. So you can just complete all the setups and you can export the all the setups into a file. That file you can keep within your system. Whenever you see that environment is refreshed all the setups, so you can just submit that file so that all your setups will be ready as it is. Then you can go with the transaction process or further configuration in the different modules. Okay, for that purpose you may use as a part of this practice and learning. But in case of implementation, we don't do this configuration package for module wise. All the once we complete all the setups for all the modules which we are going to implement, we do as a one-time activity. Okay, so this is a process.
Lakshman, after importing this configuration into the target instance, if we feel something is wrong, if we download from the source instance again, can we import into
No.
target instance again?
You cannot do that. Already the setups will remain in the system with the same names, right? The records will fail.
So it won't check whether it's existing or not.
Sorry?
It won't check whether the setups are already existing. Can we correct or not?
Manually you have to do it. Manually you have to do it. Open that setup and correct it. And that's what, see, the point is very simple. Once you think everything is fine, you completed setups and you tested by recording the transaction. So if you think everything is working fine and the setups whatever you did, then only do this activity. Otherwise, if you think something wrong, modify, change in the source instance only. Where you did the configuration, modify there. Okay, there you didn't identify the issue, the setup related issue. Then get into the target instance, and here you can modify all the setups. You will be able to access and you can modify. If you want to create any additional setups, you can do that. Fine. So now you can see we imported into this instance. So these are the two different instances. 1548 from here we exported. 1578 here we imported. System is showing the status as completed successfully. Why it is completed this much immediately? The reason is we don't have too much any data within that. Still it is running, but we downloaded a file. We just loaded that file. Now this project, ERP implementation project, you can see within this environment also. ERP implementation project 1. This is what we exported, right? But we didn't wait till system will fetch all the setups. Here still it is running. After completing, if you just come here and if you do, you can find. But the definition is copied. The definition is copied within this R project. We have the same offerings which are selected. If you search for, say, primary ledgers, because we didn't wait till system will complete that export process. So that is the reason. If already by the time if system is exported specific data, the data only you can find. Here let's try with the ERP tree. If it is already before we download the file, if data is exported, you can find, otherwise no. So you don't see ERP tree, but the basic definition is we are able to move here. Okay, the project we exported. After completing this process, system will keep all the setups ready within that file. That file you can upload into the new instance. Now here you can see project definition within the project. What are the offerings we have? All the data system is moved to this targeted instance. This across these offerings, what are the setups are done? Those are not moved. Reason? Before completing that process, we downloaded and we imported that file. Just to show you the process, I did this. Otherwise, we have to wait for some time and we have to do. Okay, when you are testing from your end, you may submit today, and whenever you see this the status as a completed, download the file and go to targeted instance and follow the same process whatever you have seen just now. Hope this is clear to everyone. Any questions, please? This is a one-time task. You have to do as a one-time task. The incremental setups you cannot get into this instance. So if you want to do any additional setups after completing this process, do in the targeted instance only. Okay.
Where do you provide target instance? More than one target instance at a time, can we do that? Same task?
Sorry?
If more than one target instance, if we have...
You can move these setups into 10 instances, no issues.
Okay.
In how many instances? Just it is all about setup file, right? We are downloading the setup file. Export setup data. All the setup data we are getting into one file. That file, wherever you upload, there the same setup system will create, including the project. In how many instances you require same setups, that you can plan and you can do accordingly. Okay. Any questions on this, please?
while moving the setup list, if we uncheck one, the dependent information system will show us, or we have to analyze from our end.
We no need to do anything. You no need to do anything. System will take care of all the dependency setups and all. Because simple point, the entire package, entire project itself, you are moving into other instance. In the current instance, you completed setups and you tested transaction flow also. That means all the setups are readily available. That is the reason you are able to test transaction flow. So that sort of configuration you are going to move. If you say some dependency setups, what sort of dependency setups you are talking about? All the dependency
No,
setups you completed for XCC. All the dependency setups you completed, and you completed the core configuration, and system allowed you to perform the transactions within the current instance. And you can take target instance as a very fresh instance, and you can do this activity. And if you are going to do this activity, okay, we no need to work on any other processes, only the initial points whatever we discussed in the targeted instance, we enable the offerings and options which you require. Okay, and submit geographies data, Nokia data import you have to submit. Apart from these two tasks, you no need to do anything within the targeted instance. Rest of all set of system will move from the source to target. You don't need to take care of other dependencies.
Lakshman,
Yeah.
I used rapid implementation for creating enterprise structure, like chart of accounts and everything.
Okay.
And I use projects for item classes or item creation. How does it recognize does it recognize the rapid implementation spreadsheet data as well?
No, that's what I'm telling. That's what I'm telling you. Just it's not like you do off of setups in the target instance to manual process remaining setups from the source instance. No, you have to get.
I'm talking about I'm talking about source instance. The source instance, I use rapid implementation for enterprise structure.
You see anything. Yeah, got you. You can anything. How you create it doesn't matter whether you have setups or not. That only system will verify. That could be manually
But how
created
does
or rapid implementation approach. It can be anything.
But how does it tie up the rapid implementation business unit with the project?
Yeah, when we are doing the setups, we'll get that business unit or primary ledgers into project scope, right? That's how it will recognize.
Oh, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, scope selection we have, right? If you go here, that is the use of project. Okay, that is use of project, or else everything you are doing outside of the project. And when you're doing outside of the project, when you want to create the configuration package, it's a mandatory you have to select your project. Then there won't be any project for you to select. That means you cannot move the status from this instance to that instance. If I go to primary ledger, okay, here we'll have our project, right? I think here just that got changed. Okay, I think somebody just selected different primary ledger. Ideally we'll have our primary ledger here, right? So with this primary ledger, what are the business units are associated? All those business units with that, what are the inventory organizations are associated, all system will fetch. So this is the logic system will use. You can do the setups from outside of the project also, right? If you do setups from outside of the project without using any project, from where we can do the setups? We can directly do from here, search, or else from here also. You can select financials or procurement, and you can search for any task here. All tasks you can select. You can select specific area. It's very difficult. Again, it is not recommended to do setups in this way. So if you do setups like this, how we can export all the setups? When you are trying to create the configuration package, system is asking for project name. Without creating the project, you can do the setups, but you cannot take that information into this file definition. So that is the reason always it's recommended to create the project and performing the setups through that project, so that you can create the configuration packages against the project, right? If you want to create, you have to select the project. That's what system will ask. Source implementation project you have to select. If no project is created and if you are performing the setup, system will allow you to do it. But if you have a requirement of moving setups from one instance to other instance, it doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work. So this is what you have to understand. Fine. And one more point, if you want to understand how to write SQL query, how to write SQL query in the Fusion environment, and any sort of queries, how to, if you want to fetch the data from database, just I'll take you through. That is a simple navigation and all. So if you want to verify the data and all, you can go with that and you can start working from your end to write some queries and to fetch the data and to analyze. I'll just show you the navigation. If you think that is required for you, you can look into that. So in the cloud environment, if you want to connect to the database and if you want to write any query, if you want to fetch the data, or else altogether if you want to prepare any report, so you have to go to navigator. Within the navigator we have a tools. Within the tools, go to task called as reports and analytics. You cannot connect to Fusion database from third-party tools. In EBS, yes, we can do with the Toad or any other third-party tools, but in the Fusion, not possible. If you want to write any query and if you want to fetch the data, if you want to analyze, everything you have to do within the instance only. Okay, fine. Under tools, we have a task called as reports and analytics. Go to reports and analytics, and here we have a book icon. You could see that pop-up is browse catalogs. Click on that. It will take us to BA catalog page. It will take us to BA catalog page. Say our requirement is we want to connect to database to write the query and to fetch the data. So if that is the requirement, what we have to do is, once we navigate here we have a new menu option. Within that, the list whatever it is opening, within that you have to go to data model. Okay, this environment will allow you to connect to database. Data model. Basically, this environment is given for report definition. You may develop report, may not develop, but if your requirement is fetching some data and to verify, so this is only the option we have. You have to go to data model. If not, from here with this navigation from the same page, you can go to here. This is also new, they give an icon. This also opens same list of tasks. Okay. So finally we have to go to data model. Just click on data model. Fine. Here under diagram, so these are the different properties which are required to define the reports. Okay, data sets definition, event triggers. Triggers concept doesn't work in the cloud environment. This is for on-premise only. The flex fields, list of values, parameters, report busting, and all these are report related. properties which are part of data model. So now just to see that how we can connect to database, under diagram you can click on this drop down option and select SQL query. Select SQL query. Now system is asking, we are going to create new data set. To write any query, just you have to create the data set. ERP3 test. So data source, you have to select the data source. Select data source as Fusion DB. The Fusion DB data source is equal to apps schema in EBS. If you connect to app schema, that will give you the access to all the applications. The same way here, data source you have to select as Fusion DB. It will give the access to all the applications. Type of SQL standard. Here you can write any query. Okay, here you can write any query. So if you want to see what are the tables and what are the views we have for any application, it could be some different procurement applications or SCM applications. What you can do is you can just go to Google and search for Oracle OER. Already we have seen how it looks like, and we downloaded one template also to load the items data, right? The same environment, OER. So here we require the tables information or views information for which area? Procurement. Procurement means there are multiple applications as a part of procurement. Supply chain management related application. Let's go with the say procurement. Within the procurement, which version we have to select first? Again, what data? Okay, earlier what we did, we just within the file based data import we selected the release 13 version. That's how we can find only release 13 related FBDA templates which are related to specific area. Now we require tables information. So select procurement. If you are looking for procurement table, select procurement. If you are looking for supply chain management related table, select supply chain management. So I'm just selecting procurement just to understand the process how it works. So procurement, scroll little down. Here you could see tables and views. You are working on which version? Say release 13. Just click on release 13. Again, is tables and views. Now we have to click on books hyperlink. Here search for tables. Tables and views for Oracle Procurement Cloud. Just click on HTML. Here we have a tables and views which are classified. Click on tables. When you say procurement, we have a multiple applications as a part of procurement. The primary application is purchasing. The purchasing tables and self-service procurement, sourcing, supplier model, supplier portal, supplier qualifications. So these are the different applications which you have as a part of procurement, and application wise they given the tables also. If you want to go to purchasing tables, click on purchasing. These all are tables which are related to purchasing. Okay. And you can click on any table. It will provide the detailed information. We have a technical reference manuals for EBS, right? Similarly, like if you want to understand more detail level, the tables and all, you can click on any one of the table. Okay, it gives you the detailed information. Okay, so I'm just clicking on PO headers all. It talks about the table, which columns we have. See here, the PO headers all. This is what the table is all about, what information it stores. And again, And this table is part of which schema, fusion schema, and object owner PO purchasing application. The object type, it is a table or view, it is table, and it is belongs to which table space, that information within this table. What is the primary key? Okay, primary key column, this is the primary key column. What are the columns we have within the table, and what is the purpose, what it stores, what information it stores. This is how you can see. Okay, now say for example, just we want to understand how to write the query. Now you want to write a query to fetch few columns data. Okay, so let's take few columns. So we'll take the table name. Of course, we didn't create any transactions here, right? Okay, you can take any column. So once we perform the transactions, so we'll just write the query once again. Mode of transportation sold to BUID. Just to understand how to write the query. So this is my requirement. Say I want to query these two columns from this table. Say select PO header ID, comma, bill to BUID from PO header solve. Go to instance. Here you have to place the query, or else you can write the query here directly. Okay, select PO header ID and bill to ID from PO header solve, or else you can take the supplier information or any other details and say okay. Now system created one data set within the data set. Okay, it created grouping. Okay, group 1. So these are the two columns. Now if you want to see this data related result, what you have to do is, so go to data and click on view. If the table has any data with those columns, it will fetch. So we have, okay, already some existing data it is showing for existing records, but we didn't create any records, right? So that is the point here. Here by default the rows displayed is showing as a 5. You can extend and you can see many. Click on view. Okay, but this is a tree view. If you want to see table view, you can click on table view and you can see. Fine. Now you can save this data as a sample data. Okay, save as a sample data. Say okay. So from here you can write the query. The query related results, if you want to take as a report definition, you can do that. Okay, save as a sample data and say save again. The same data set you have to save. So by default here you could see my folders and shared folders. If you save something within the my folders, that would be available for the current user only. Only ERP tree will be able to see those whatever the data sets you are saving. If you save this same definition data set in the shared folder, the shared folders are accessed by all the users. Let's save in the my folders only. Your P3 PO header. So we selected my folders. Say okay. Only the data set we are saving. Now you can just go and create the report against that. So click on create report. Just we're trying to understand how to get that report, the query result into report definition. That's all. Otherwise, just if your requirement is just understanding how to write the query, that's all. We have seen that. So here, the below it is not displaying below option. So minimize this view. So click on new. See here, whatever the data set we created, the system is taking here. It is saving only for this ERP3 user folder. That means my folders. Just click on next. And the result how you want to present. Table format or chart format, pivot table, or how exactly you require, that you can select. Let's go with the table format. Click on next. And we have a two columns, right? We have a two columns which we selected through that query. So out of those two columns, how many you want to take into report output, a report definition? Yes, we need two. So you drag and drop those columns here. You return the query for two columns. Those are available same here, since the query related data set only we are using. So if you don't need any column, you can remove. You can delete here. Once you place the cursor, it will enable delete option. Okay. You can drag and drop. You can arrange what you need first, what you need second. It's all about BA report environment. So it automatically, what system is doing, since this is a numerical values, it is automatically summing. But it's a pure header ID and business unit ID. These are not the amount related information. So you can disable the checkbox. Show grand total row. You can disable. You can click on next.
If you want to see only one grand total something, how
You
it
have
is.
to set that. You have to work on that properties. It's all about report definition. There you can have it by default. That option they given.
Mhm.
Yeah, there are a lot of options to work with the report.
This is the way only if you want to create any new report.
Yes, yes, yes.
Maybe
Yeah, this is a very
creating.
basic process. Okay, we are here to see how to write the query, but the query relate result how to take into report also. I'm just showing. That's all. So basically, this who are BI expert, they'll do all these report definitions. Fine. Say arbitrary PO report. Say okay, and we are taking that also into my folders. So done. Wait, it is starting the viewer. So we are not working on the actual report definitions, just to, it's all about writing query and taking the same information as it is into report. So this data, if you want to download in the different formats, here we have option view report or download the same. If you want to get through PDF format or HTML, RTF or Excel, PowerPoint, you can go with the what format you want to download this data. The BI business intelligence, BIP business BI publisher reports solution. This is all about, they're given as inbuilt solution. In case of EBS, we have to take the separate license for the client. So 1 of 139.
But in cloud, we have only BI reports only, right? There is no other.
Yes, for everything BI only we have, and OTBI just primarily for analysis. Only BI for all the applications we have BI reports, BIP reports. Okay, if you want to download, you can download that file from here. Okay, and this is all about. You can, if you want to, of course, that is not our task, but if you just click on home, just we return the query and we fetched into report definition. So that's how it is showing. If you want to go with this, modifying this report definition and all, ideally this is the report which we defined. You have to click on edit. It will open all the options, how to put the logo and how to set all those options related to this. Okay, so you can set for this definitions, some setting up some parameters when you are going to run this report, the filtration, the BU selection, or supplier selection, or what selections required, the parameters definition and all you can do. Okay, which parameter and all you can specify in the same way, what list of values required for that, and all these you can just define as per a requirement. But this is completely goes to technical bucket. Okay, who are working on creating the BI reports, BIP reports, they do this activity. But we are here to see from where to write the SQL queries. That's all. Okay.
What are the standard reports available actually? How we know?
Okay. The standard reports you can find from here only. I'll show you. So you can go to this section. Here you have, again, I'll take the navigation. Under tools, same navigation, reports and analytics. Go to shared folders. So here you can, these all are reports only, they are classified. Any area, okay, any area like finance related, you can go to procurement. Here procurement folder, you have expand this procurement folder. Again here, based on the application, purchasing, I'm expanding purchasing. Here you can see purchasing related basic reports, purchase purchase agreements, PDF report and all you can see. Further you can expand.
Okay.
You can see relevant, expand.
So
And
this
this
one series
will
reports
be
are
available from ESS job page also.
fine.
Yep. Here you can,
Fantastic.
if you want to see the sourcing related reports, these are the sourcing related reports. Okay, you can just select the report, it will just give all these details here. Select, click on more, and here it is showing the same reports. Here, yes, here you could see the option. I think for this it is not opening. Let's go with our purchasing related. Just click on this. Click on more. It'll open the list of all the reports related to that. These are the reports you can go and submit. And if you want to copy these, okay, you can create the copy, create shortcut, and you can modify these reports, rename, delete, and you can work on the properties, permissions. From here, it's completely BI catalog environment where you can manage these reports. The same reports would be available to submit from ESS job page, enterprise scheduler service. Okay, schedule process, from schedule process, same you could see. Okay, for now this user doesn't have any permissions to run the report since we didn't assign the relevant roles. Once you assign the roles, what happens is here system will be opening the option called as, the system will give the option as a open. If you click on open here, like edit and more, you can see one more as open. Once you click on open, it will open the report to select the parameters. You can select the parameters and you can run the report. So that's how it will work. Fine. So from here you can find the reports. It's a very much just everything is classified. You can see it's very classified manner. The reports,
Lakshman, like a simple user will have access to data model and run the queries.
sorry.
Basic user will have access to run the queries, or does it require a special role?
Okay.
As if that,
No. Because here we have a like access to application implementation consultant. So application implementation consultant, because of that role, we are able to access everything. Okay, for to access this BA area, we have a separate roles which are included as a part of application implementation consultant. That is the reason we are able to access to this environment. Otherwise, normal user cannot have access to this environment, only based on the roles. Okay, that user can just ideally, we discussed, so they can have access to this environment navigator level schedule process. From here they'll be able to run the reports. Again, if those reports the user has access to the respective roles. Okay, we discussed reports also will be part of roles, but now here we are able to access to everything. We didn't give access to any, I mean, we didn't assign any role to this user by including the reports access. The reason here you are able to see is that you have access to application implementation consultant that will have access to everything. Because of that role, you are able to see all the reports, and you are able to access to BI catalog, and you are able to define the report. Normal user, no. Okay. So you have to assign the relevant roles, required roles, then you can, then only that specific user can have access to that environment. Okay, again, depending on the role which you are assigning, they can access to that environment. Maybe their access up to running the reports, not creating the data sets and just creating the report definitions. Okay, so that's how we have.
So Lakshman, can we see the underlying query of the existing standard report?
You have to open that. You have to open that in the BA catalog only. You have to open the query definition, and you can see all that information. So this is the one which we created, as I said. So this is what the system is fetching, that code and all, domain name and all that information. This is the
This is not query, right? Yeah.
diagram here. If you want to see the query, edit data set. Here you can modify or you can just play with that.
Does it allow for standard reports, not our own reports?
No, standard you cannot do that. Standard, if you want to do that, you can make a copy of the definition and you can modify.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, fine.
And can we use the views to write the query?
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. It could be report or view, anything you can. Here we have, if you want to write against the view, yes, you can write it.
You can change the name of the report as per the user, friendliness. That is possible, no? Copy and then change the
Yes,
report
like
as
that.
per user.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can just make a copy and you change the name, and the remaining all the properties remain same. Naming would be different. That again, that with that name, that report is required for which role of which users accordingly you can include that report into respective roles.
Fine, sir.
Yep, fine. So this is just simple point to understand from where we can write the queries and where you can see all the tables and views for specific application. This is a place from OER. Okay, you can see all the views. The same way, if you go to here, we are selected procurement. 1 second. You want to go to supply chain management? Yes.
So Lakshman, I have one question on this.
Yeah.
So let's say if I create a new report for my user who's a material specialist with a material specialist kind of role. So if I put that in shared folder, will he be able to see that report under the standard inventory management
Yes,
responsibility?
yes. That user
Okay.
only can see. That user only. Okay, shared folder means everyone can access who has access to this BI catalog.
But then as a material specialist,
No,
will he
One second,
be?
See,
Yeah.
we no need to run the report from here. Okay, so material specialist need access to that report. What we do is you will assign the role to material specialist to perform those relevant activities, right?
Okay. So what
How
role
you
that would
assign
be?
that report to that relevant role?
Oh, okay. How
That
can
role
we
will
do that?
assign to 1 or 2 users who are working as a material specialist. So when you assign to those users, if those users wants to run that report, they will go to this section, navigator section, and they'll go to schedule process. From there they can run.
But how can I give access to them? Like, maybe I missed that part.
Sorry?
I'm not clear. How can I give? Let's say
No,
I
we didn't
create
discuss
one
that.
new
We didn't
report.
discuss that. When we are working on role customization, we'll see that.
Okay, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. Okay, sure.
So now here you can find the reports which are provisioned to this user through different roles. Now only 3 roles assigned to this user. Through those 3 roles, okay, what are the reports are provisioned, all you are able to see. Here you can see many reports, many processes, because these all processes are part of application implementation consultant role. Within that they given. Okay. But if you talk about payables or purchasing or inventory or those reports you don't see here, since this user doesn't have access to those. So this user has access to BI administrator role. ERP3 user has access to BI administrator role. The BI administrator role will allow you to access to BI catalog. How come this user has access to BI administrator role? The user role whatever we assign to this user called application implementation consultant. Within that role we have BI administrator role by default. Okay, that is the reason we are able to navigate here. We are able to just create this data models within the data model, data sets and report definitions, since this user has a full privileges to all the areas of application. Okay, so that is a point we have to understand. Now, so to start with inventory, what role is required, we'll go and assign that role to the our user, so that user will give the access to work on that application related transaction process. To assign any role to the user, we have to navigate to security console. Go to security console. Go to security console. Go to users. Find our user. Our username is ERP3. Click on search. So click on username. Click on edit. Now to start with the inventory, to perform the inventory transactions, which roles are required? So we'll see. Just click on add role. Okay, we have a different inventory related seeded roles. We'll assign. After assigning, we'll go on to do the comparison. What's the difference between those roles? The roles has which permissions, we'll go and see that. So roles are like inventory manager. Assign role called as inventory manager. So inventory manager, it has two different codes. You can assign any one of the role. And when you are assigning, make sure that you are not assigning the inventory manager which is mapped with a different inventory organization. Okay, somebody unmuted. See here, these two
Actually, I
are.
have a question here. I
Yep.
have a question here. So, can you? Is there any way that we can see all the inventory related roles at one go, or we have to remember these roles?
No, I'll show you where you can see the classification
Okay.
wise, where you can see. I'll show you that.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yep. So all the roles which are available within this environment, you can see with the classification. These are the finance related, these are procurement, these are supply chain. With that classification, we can see. We'll see that. So inventory manager. Okay, inventory manager, same role. This is job role. And here you could see for inventory manager 001 inventory organization is associated. These are the data roles. We already discussed data roles concept is not applicable from release 12, but how come these we have? These are vision instance definitions, vision based definitions. This environment, when it was release 11, at the time those got created as a part of vision instance, those are carry forward after upgrading to release 13 also. So in fresh instance, you don't see this sort of mapping role with the inventory organization. They all are vision based definitions which are carry forward after upgradation. Okay, so you can select any one of the role out of these two. Both are same, just codes are different. Any role you can associate. Select and say add role membership means assign. And we have other roles also. This role would be enough. With this role you will be able to perform the transactions. And you have other roles called as warehouse manager, warehouse operator. We'll see what is the difference between these roles also. We can go and compare. Warehouse manager, you can assign. So we assigned inventory manager. Now we are assigning warehouse manager, and other role you can assign warehouse operator. Warehouse operator. Assign. These three roles we assign. Then say done. After assigning any role, these roles are transaction related roles. If you want to work on inventory, these roles are required. So that is the reason we assign. Now say save and close. After assigning the roles, we have to provision the access to those roles. Role access we given to this user, but with that role, this user can work for which inventory organization that we have to associate. We'll complete the task and we'll go and we'll compare what privileges the roles has, how the roles are different, how the roles are similar. Okay, we'll complete the task called as provide data access for users. So what we did, simply we assigned, say assign inventory roles to user. Which roles we assign? Inventory manager, warehouse manager, warehouse operator. These 3 roles we assign. Now for the 3 roles, these roles require access to which inventory organization we have to provide the access. Say provide data access for user. User means for the user related these roles. Which access? Inventory access. Fine, we'll go and see that. So already we performed that relevant task in case of GL. For GL we assign the roles. After assigning the roles, for the same roles we given primary ledger access. Okay, primary ledger access. The same we are going to do it for inventory related roles. Go to task called as data access for users that you can do from the project or directly from FSM homepage. Data access for users. So if you notice here, we have a different tasks. See, ledger data access for users, and even for our inventory organization also you can find inventory organization data access for users, cost organization data for users, and different tasks we have. You don't need to go with a different task. Single task you can use for any sort of mapping, that is manage data access for users. Whatever you could see here, the business unit mapping or asset book mapping, cost organization or data access or intercompany inventory organization or ledger data access or any data access you can provide with this single task. You don't need to search for the appropriate task, not required. For anything you want to assign to your roles, it could be business unit or inventory organization or cost organization or anything, you this role this task would be enough. Just click on manage data access for users and click on create. Select our user, ERP tree, select role. So inventory manager. So to inventory manager role, we have to give the permission to our inventory organization. So security contest, select as inventory organization. What is our inventory organization name? ERP tree dollars. And click on duplicate. The next role is warehouse manager. Select security contest as inventory organization, same inventory organization. Or if you want to give access to multiple inventory organization for this user, again for the same inventory manager, you can assign one more inventory organization. And role is,
So if you have multiple organizations, you let's say 10 or more than 10, you have to provide 10 times you have to do this setup.
correct. So one time task, 10 times you have to do it.
Is there no other way?
Sorry?
Is there in no other way? Because if you have 100 organizations,
Manually you have to do it. You may do here, you may enter here, or else you have a spreadsheet option also, where whatever it may be, you have to enter. No second option. Okay, you cannot create logic where system will take automatically. Select user, select role, and specify which inventory access. For each user, you have to do it. No other option. You may do in this sheet, or else we have a spreadsheet option also. In the spreadsheet also, you have to enter. Here it's very easy. You can select. Yeah, fine. Or even spreadsheet also there is option to select in the same way, but you have to click. You have to do all those things. There is no big difference you can find. Say save and close. Click on done. Now we have to submit LDAP job for this role synchronization. What are the inventory organizations we are associated with these roles? Those has to be synchronized in the LDAP directories. So go and submit LDAP job. Go to schedule process. So schedule new process. Say okay. Submit. So we assign 3 roles to this user. Okay. When we are working on the custom roles concept, we'll go through it. Which role consists of which features, what is the difference between the two roles, we can compare and all. Maybe after 2 to 3 sessions we'll be working on the topic, so that by the time we'll get some understanding about the transactions activities what we do as a part of inventory. Okay, at that time we'll just take these 3 roles and we'll compare what is the difference between inventory manager and warehouse manager, difference between inventory manager and warehouse operator in terms of privileges. Okay, those will just compare, and prior to that we'll go through the job roles, duty roles, and how to create the job roles, duty roles as a custom job duty roles, and how to copy the seeded roles, and how to create our own roles by modifying. We'll be working on all those role related customizations. At the time we'll go through, we'll understand what exactly these 3 roles has different or similar privileges.
Does configuration package take the data duty, so like data access as well?
No, data access no. Only setups, only setups. See, the users which you create in the test, those may not definitely not same in the production, right? Okay, so it will take setup part. May take some time. Meantime, we'll go and verify already the synchronizations happened with automated process. Go to navigator. Okay, it's not yet added. We'll wait. So we'll see from home it is updated. Any chance? No, it is not updated. So still it is not synchronized. Else we'll sign out and sign in and we'll check.
How do you know it is not updated, Lakshman? What you are checking here?
Inventory related springboard icon it will add. The privileges. See, for GL, we assign the roles, right? Do you remember?
It came.
Yes.
Yeah.
So after assigning the GL roles, what system added into Navigator?
We got 3 new icons. One is a journal, GL period closure.
Title is General Accounting. Under that, 3 tasks:
Yes.
dashboard, journals, period close. In the same way, it will add for inventory also. So once the roles are synchronized, it will add here. Okay, we'll see. Yeah, now it is added. This is what I am looking for. Inventory management. Because of the roles which we assign to this user, this is added. Because of the roles, whatever we assign to GL roles to this user, this general accounting is added, right? We click on that. Within that, these 3 different tasks we have. Now inventory management. Just click on inventory management, which will give the access to inventory application to perform the transactions. It's kind of dashboard where you can see summary of inventory related information or activities, inflows, outflows of transactions. So all these cycle counting, etc., on and quantity. Once you start recording the transaction, this you could see updates. Fine. Here you go to task list. Okay. So these are all related to inventory. Manage item quantities, etc., all inventory related different transactions which you can perform. Here show task. So we have a filter option. Counting. Okay. Create a cycle counting and all these counting related tasks. And shipping, when you are dealing with the inventory related shipping, these are the tasks we use. When we are receiving material into inventory, when we are shipping the material to the customer, so those cases the shipping task list we use. And in the same way, picking, when you are going to create the receipts, receipt section, is all. Okay.
Is there any other icon other than inventory management, Lakshman? Because if we add more roles, based on that, if we add more roles, right now we have added 3 roles, right? Based on we got inventory management.
Whatever you added, even if you add additional roles, those you are talking about inventory related additional roles only, right?
Right.
So that includes the features here.
But icon will be inventory management only, always,
Because
right?
roles are related to inventory management only, right?
Yes.
What level of permissions, those will be displayed inside of that. That's all. Okay. So say you are assigning inventory managed role to the user. And within the inventory manager, say you have access to all these areas: inventory, counting, shipping, picking, receipt. But you want to give access to only inventory. So in that case, within the inventory manager role, remove all the duty roles which are related to these. Now still system will show icon as inventory management. Whenever you click and open here it will show only inventory. Only inventory, only
Got you.
is only you can get it. Yeah.
Planning is not called there. Replenishment.
Okay. Yeah, please keep on mute. Please make sure that no background noise.
Lakshman, I have a question. So I'm not able to see the item management over here because I was talking to Oracle relationship manager here, and she said like now it's part of inventory. I think inventory management as part of the last release.
What is
So
that?
I'm not sure. So I'm not seeing the inventory management over. Oh, sorry, item management over here. Like create item, manage item, and all those things.
Item, create item.
Yeah.
That all. You are attending these sessions today or what?
No. I know, like, we talked about this thing that product and catalog management is something like, which needs to be
Already
there,
we
right? For
created items. Already we created items. That item related, it won't be part of this role. That ideally it comes with the application implementation consultant role. Within that only that relevant role is available.
So if I have to give, what role I have to give to my, like, business users, because I cannot give them the application implementation consultant role, right? Because
Yeah.
I need. So which role I have to give to them for
I'll
the
show
item
you.
creation?
See, not only this, for everything we'll see when you open the role. I'll just show you when you are doing the role customization. We'll go more detail level. Which role consists of which duty roles. If you want to give access to specific, how to create the custom role definition, everything we'll do. Okay. So product information management will give the access. The relevant role, if you assign to the user, that user will have access to item management.
Okay.
So already those activities we completed in the previous sessions itself. So here, item creation, manage items, right?
Planning related here not.
Sorry?
Planning related replenishment, min-max and other thing. Where is the role?
We'll work on that. We will work on that, but that we don't see in this list. We have to associate our additional roles.
Okay, thank you.
Fine. So we're done. I'm sorry. I think just here we have to see that inventory access also. Inventory management. Here you can see this user has access to only this inventory organization since we provision the access to this. Now what are the transactions we are going to perform here? Anything will related to this inventory organization only. This user can perform all these transactions related to this inventory organization. That's how we given the access. If you provide one more inventory organization access to this user with the respective roles, here the system will give you the option to switch from one to other. Okay, switch from one to other inventory organization. That's how we can do. It's already 7:50. In tomorrow's session, we'll start working on these inventory transactions. Okay, we'll create miscellaneous transaction, we'll check on hand quantity in the same way, sub inventory transfer, inter-organization transfer, etc., etc. So we'll go one by one. Any questions on today's session, please?
So, Lakshman, I assume that when we will be talking about roles, we will be talking about, like, if I have 10 roles and I want to create someone with the same kind of roles, so there is copy functionality, like okay, copy.
Yeah, you have a background noise, so I cannot do anything with that. Any questions from others, please? Any questions from others? Okay, no questions. So then that's all for today. We'll connect tomorrow and we'll continue from here. Thank you all. Have a good day and good night.
Happy Diwali, Lakshman. Happy Diwali.
Yeah, Lakshman. One thing.
Same to you and same to you all.
Yeah.
Happy Diwali.
Hello, Lakshman.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Happy Diwali.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lakshman, we need spreadsheet